Welcome to Otome Challenge this week. It is the third stage of Sweet Fuse at your side on the PlayStation Vita. Michelle and myself will be talking through this stage, and I will be providing my thoughts while Michelle provides her expert feedback. If you enjoy this podcast, please leave a like, subscribe, or follow on your podcast app of choice. Unfortunately, this week we did have some small technical difficulties with a stray fan in the background that we didn't recognize. We tried to filter most of that out, but there may be some small flare-ups in the audio. So our apologies for that in advance. Michelle, you have been dragged back. Drugged back? Not sure.
I think it's drug.
It's drug? You are drugged back to the Otome maze of life. So
you don't have to drag me. I've been playing them nonstop for like all week.
I have good news for you this week.
Mm-hmm.
But first, the bad news.
Mm-hmm.
Raid Shadow Legends does not want to sponsor us. They ignored my call out.
Why?
They ignored my call out on this podcast, and they ignored my tweets after the podcast. So they can take their small little mobile title that probably needs our support more than anything, and stick it, because we're going to have a new not sponsor of the week that I'm sure when they get this glorious sponsor from me, not sponsorship from me, promoting their product, that they will just come begging to give us money. So the plan's still in effect. I'm confident in this one. Okay, but the good news. I actually like this session. I actually liked this stage. Nice. Overall. I have a few nitpicks, but this actually was very fun. For various reasons. Most of which, the most important of which is this is a very Mitarashi heavy chapter. With a lot of good Mitarashi sections in
I would say it's more of a Shirabe heavy chapter, but...
Oh, fuck him. Alright.
No!
Fuck Urabe!
No, not Urabe, Shirabe. You know, with, like, his family and all that.
Fuck him. Alright, we're gonna get to the important stuff. We'll talk about Urabe, and he does some stuff. It's not that big a deal. Mitarashi is what we're here for, Michelle. Let's not forget.
I'm super not here for...
Boy. So, we ended the last session. By the way, I took 14 pages of notes. The most notes I've taken in any section yet, because this was the best section so far, and I was invested. I was slightly invested. So, last session, we ended on this big conspiracy. Not really a conspiracy, it is happening, that Mitarashi and Shirabe are having some outside-the-group conversations. Our main character's stupid and suspects Mitarashi of wrongdoing, even though he is the best boy. She was gonna question at least him about it last section through our free time event, but he was so hot and so sexy that we forgot to do it. We just dropped the whole topic.
Relatable content right there.
Yeah,
I've pulled that move. Been upset with somebody, and then they looked nice, and then I was like,
what were we talking about? I know you were trying to kill the group, but that's okay. Mitarashi is the star of this section. Saki wakes up from a dream. And she is having bad dreams because everybody has betrayed everybody else in her dream. We don't see any of this dream other than she had a bad dream and that's what happened. Just text. She's worried about Mitarashi for some reason, even though he's best boy, and Shirabe, which is fair.
We're not best boy.
She checks her phone. God hasn't replied. God being Keiji Inafune, her uncle.
Yeah.
So she's distraught about that. But thankfully, a piglet will knock on the door and brings a wonderful spread of food of cooked fish for breakfast. And apparently cooked fish is her favorite food. Not important, but hey, character development. She likes cooked fish, I guess. I know. Saki eats the fish.
Who don't like cooked fish.
I like cooked fish. Not for breakfast, but I realize Japan. Saki eats the fish, I guess, and goes to the lobby. Mitarashi and Urabe are both missing. Ooh, what are they doing? They're so sus. Hit the red button alarm. We're gonna have a meeting. But this is a moot point because then they just both arrive suddenly, so suspense is short-lived. It startles Saki that they just randomly show up, even though they're supposed to be there, I guess. Urabe notices that Saki is troubled because obviously she's jumping at two people who should be there arriving there. And Saki immediately just shuts this down. She doesn't want to bring up this conversation. And I would too if Urabe spoke to me. I'd be like, "Shut the fuck up." So that's it. That's all that happens on the boat. They dock by the big overcompensation castle that Hogstein lives at. Hogstein appears on the monitor in front of the castle, and he reveals, dun dun dun, a traitor is among us. So who's the traitor? Well, we've got two key suspects. Urabe, though, he speaks up immediately and just shoots this down. He's like, "This is insanity. There's no traitor. We're a team." Yeah. And, Saki's like, "It might be Urabe," but she doesn't say anything out loud. It's to herself. She's thinking these things. And Hogstein realizes how stupid he is and decides to forbid the use of cell phones in any future games. So I guess it truly was just an oversight. So no more, cheating, getting Mitarashi a cell phone earpiece, and saying the answers to him in a secret room that you're not supposed to hear anybody from. Darn.
Bummer.
That's okay. Because we're about to go to the best area so far. Now, I'm going to eat crow a little bit on this section.
Okay.
I have complained that the first section of the game was nothing but hallways, and that is true. I still have that complaint in this section.
Didn't I say that your favorite area was going to be one with hallways?
I assumed this was it. When you mentioned that last time we got here, I was like, this is what she was referring to. Because we are going to Silent Hill / Resident Evil / Fatal Frame land, called Bloodstained Hospital, which ends up taking themes from all these games. The hospital being obvious Silent Hill vibes. Really cool layout, with the exception of the big needle syringe going into the building. That was a little tacky, but other than that, I love a good hospital, evil hospital. And Mayoshi sees this. Mayoshi being the nerd. He's like, "Oh, it's a survival horror game set in rural Japan," which goes back to Silent Hill and Fatal Frame vibes. Not so much Fatal Frame, but I thought there were. I took a few cues from it. So basically, this is the next game. They're getting ready to go inside. Mayoshi's explaining the rules of the game. The game has no health gauge. The way you die in the horror game of Bloodstained Village or Hospital or whatever it's called is when you're terrified. When you're terrified, your terror gauge maxes out, and then you die. Which kind of feels like Amnesia a little bit. I don't know if that was an intentional, because I don't even think that game was out yet, but maybe it was. That's cool. While they are walking, Saki glimpses into the hospital. Saki glimpses a random child walking around. And that's it. Just, you get like a brief flash of an image of a small child. Not long enough to really see it. And I tried to rewind the game to get a better view, and it really is just bang bang. So you can't pause on it. So you don't get a good glimpse of it. I guess I could have screen capped maybe. But,
screen capping is hard to do on the Vita, though.
It is. So yeah, you have that. So I've already complained about the giant syringe ruining the vibe, but other than that, it's just got it's just this dark hospital, obviously run down, empty. Wakasa is just shit terrified of this. He's wussing out, and confirms that he doesn't like horror. He doesn't like horror at all. So Wakasa still sucks. So yeah, that's kind of the setup for this big thing. So we get to the entrance of the hospital, and there are 3 doors. Message on the 3 doors in Italian. Abandon all hope, ye who enter here.
Yep.
Shadow, by the way, apparently can read Italian because he's the one who reads this to us.
This bitch would speak Italian.
He seems like the kind. Well, this is like, what are you, Italian? Speaking Italian? What kind of a jerk are you? You know?
The glasses.
Yeah. I could see Shadow being like, I'm gonna learn Italian this year.
He's also like a weirdly fancy boy for a cop, you know?
Yeah, but his glasses still don't fit, and that bothers me. By the way, I think is it Shadow or Urabe? I think Urabe mentions that it's a reference to Dante's Inferno, the gate to hell.
Probably Urabe.
Probably. Sounds like Urabe. Shadow. I guess Shadow is going to end up being the leader point man for most of this, because I think this is the second time he does this now. He kind of takes leadership and does the recommendation of splitting up, because there are 3 doors. We don't know which is the right door, so we have to split up.
I don't know, maybe just think about it for a minute.
He could. I mean, I don't know if there was really any hints. I don't know if it mattered, to be honest with you, even after playing through it.
Yeah, me either.
So he recommends splitting up in case we pick the wrong door. And Mitarashi starts grinning, and Saki sees this, and we still suspect Mitarashi because we're stupid. We don't understand he's best boy, and
he's not.
She's worried because of this grin that he has a big diabolical plan.
Or he's just like a fucking idiot.
Well, Mitarashi reveals very quickly the reason for the grin. This is one of my nitpicks, is we get these, like, we get this suspicious moment, and then it's going to immediately explain itself, and I don't like that lack of suspense. Mitarashi asks Miyoshi to go with him. He's acting very sus about it. You know, he's just like, hey, Miyoshi, you should totally come with me. You know, Miyoshi immediately shoots it down because he doesn't want to be bombarded by questions again. We're like, huh? Questions? What questions? What questions are you asking? And they immediately kill the suspense of this whole thing by Mitarashi just admitting that he just wants to ask the nerd about video games.
Yeah.
Apparently, during his time here, or maybe even shortly before his time here, because he chose willingly to come to a video game theme park, he has acquired a taste for video games. Mm-hmm. And Miyoshi, being the video game nerd, he just likes hanging out with Miyoshi and asking him a bunch of video game questions. And that's it. And then to further kill any suspense of Mitarashi potentially being the villain, Miyoshi straight up says, I tried to get away from him, but then he just called me on his phone at the boat last night. Just killed me, like, oh, that peeved me greatly. I was just like, okay, we have, obviously it's setting up for a traitor. Okay, that's fine. You have 2 key suspects currently. That's great. Let me think about it a little longer about who it could be. Don't just take one of them away from me, even though it's obvious it's not going to be him.
I mean, but one of the boys is a traitor.
They are, and we'll get to that.
Obviously not him.
We'll get to that, but I just wanted to dwell on that a little longer. I like a who is it mole scenario. My Hero Academia has held that close to its vest for years and may never answer it. Who knows?
No, they will.
But I'm an anime watcher, by the way. So
yeah, I know. I've heard.
Maybe it has in the manga, but I like that. I like lingering on that and building a good story around it, and they just threw it away there. I hate that in wrestling too, but I won't dare touch that here.
I don't know. I don't super mind it because I think different Otome games have different sort of vibes with the relationships of the characters, like as a group. And I think Sort of the strength of this and certain other Otome games is that like the ensemble cast gets along well and work together well, and that's sort of what makes it work. And I think that's what this game is going for. There are other ones where there's more like animosity and suspicion between the like cast as a whole, but I
Hmm.
don't know. I think them getting along well suits
Yeah,
the vibe.
yeah, and it suits the vibe. I was disappointed by it. That's just me. I get it. I get it if that's the goal, but I would have liked a couple chapters of who is it, Mitarashi just being like, sneaking around continually and making these phone calls and trying to piece together what he's doing, even if it ended up being this stupid reason.
I can tell. I know exactly if you ever play Hakuoki, I know exactly who you're gonna fucking date, and I'm preemptively mad about it.
I can usually bet if it's a character you hate that it's going to be a character I
Here's
like.
the
That's
thing,
just
I don't
in
even
general
hate this
from knowing
character.
you.
I just can't defend him. I don't hate the character, but like I'm aware that he's garbage. Even more garbage than I am usually into. And so it'll be hard to like defend this character in the public forum.
If I ever get around to Hakuoki, I look forward to this conversation.
Yeah.
So again, Saki just confirms that this whole side of the mystery is over by clearing him of suspicion.
Mhm.
Um, she actually just monologues that to herself, I guess, or maybe thinks it, I guess. Shirabe, the only remaining, obvious suspect, recommends each group take one adult, which
Yeah,
is
fair.
funny. This is a funny bit because he goes, "All right, one adult. Shido, you're the adult." Or sorry, he notifies three adults. He's like Shido, Urabe, and Shirabe himself.
Yeah, I guess.
Mirashi, also being an adult,
But he super doesn't act like one.
is immediately offended. Uh, so Mayoshi ends up going with Shido. Shirabe ends up going with Wakasa, who's scared out of his mind, and Urabe goes with Mitarashi. So I have a choice now because I'm the odd person out for some reason because I'm the girl. I guess they didn't assign me. I guess. Um, who do I go with? And I basically get to choose one of those three groups. So I could be intelligent and go with Shido, who's clearly intelligent and can read Italian. What if we encounter more Italian on the way? And Mayoshi, who knows this game inside out. That's the smart choice, but I don't do the smart choice because my boy, my my angel, Mitarashi is stuck with that nasty Urabe. I can't let him go by himself with that horrible person. So I'm gonna go there. I go with Mitarashi and
I
Urabe.
must say, as someone who's played all of the routes, and as an Otome connoisseur, Shirabe is the correct choice here. He has the best scene in this like zone, so
I
just
can
putting it
believe
out
that.
there.
I can
Yeah.
believe that based on what comes later.
No, it happens like before that. It's just very suave.
Gotcha. A piglet comes out after we divide into groups and gives us all a heart rate monitor. And this is going to
This
mimic the
would have
terror
pissed
gauges.
me off. I would have died immediately.
Oh yeah, yeah, I would have to. Um, to be calm, cool, and collected around Urabe is a hard task, but we're gonna try it. A piglet,
Mm.
yeah, we put on the heart monitor. That's obviously the terror gauges. So if our heart rate goes too high, we are going to be quote unquote dead. Not actually dead, but in the game that we are playing, dead.
I mean,
Um,
better hope that nobody has a heart condition.
right, you're right. I'm sure Hogstein took the liberty of giving us a thorough physical examination before all this. He didn't
Well.
that we know of. Um, the piglet gestures. Oh, by the way, the piglets don't talk. I don't know if I mentioned this previously. They don't
Yeah, they
talk.
don't. They
They
can't.
gesture. They do weird poses. I'm imagining they don't show many of them in the game pictures. I'm imagining, and this may go over your head, like Great Saiyaman from Dragon Ball.
I don't know.
I gotta show you this later. Remind me to send you video of Great Saiyaman.
Okay.
All right. I'm picturing they're just wild gestures. They're doing like these crazy gestures, and I think it's Mayoshi who is it Mayoshi who's able to read these?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anytime these piglets gesture, it's Mayoshi who's usually explaining what they mean, which is a little weird. I'm holding on to that. I've been holding on to that nitpick in my mind as of, how do you know all this if they're just making gestures? But it could just be a weird thing.
I don't know. There are like a lot of universal gestures, and
Mm-hmm.
like I don't know. I feel like if you're good at gesturing, you can get the point across.
Yeah, it's just odd that only Mayoshi can figure it out. It's like he knows the code or something. It's a little weird, but that
Hmm.
could be way overanalyzing this. Um, Mitarashi goes in. We're going in now, in our door. Mitarashi takes a flashlight. Um, Urabe just decides to be an asshole and dunk on Mitarashi for trying to lead when Urabe, is the adult. And I'm like, shut up, Urabe. Let the hero lead. Remember, he saved us in the last game. Remember that. He kept me alive by taking a arrow. He actually takes a bullet in the second round. So shut up, Urabe. Shut
I
up.
mean, I was
Can't
gonna say
argue
something
with
that
that.
will be a spoiler, so I can't say it.
um So this is where I eat crow a little bit. When we get inside the hospital, it's a bunch of hallways, and I complained about this with the first room, the first
Hmm.
stage. But at least it's an interesting theme this time, and we have other rooms that are more interesting than just, hey, there's a statue in this room.
Hmm.
Um, that we'll eventually get to. So I'm a little more forgiving. Um, they enter the hallway. There's blood all over the walls. Um, a PA comes over, a voice starts playing over a PA and says that this hospital is a labyrinth of death.
Yeah.
And, just setting the tone, I guess, giving me hints of what's to come. And Urabe just randomly decides to just grab my shoulder and startle the hell out of Saki
Yeah.
for no fucking reason. It
I
doesn't
mean,
really explain this.
he might have been trying to sabotage her from the start, but I don't know.
It's just weird because he's just like he's just like he doesn't really say anything about it. He's just like, oh, it's nothing. Like, what the hell, man? So I'm just like, fuck you again, Urabe. You suck. Trying because I'm like, why would you just randomly grab somebody with the heart rate monitor? Anyway, obvious sus moment. Um, Saki observes when he's going, oh, it's nothing, that he did actually have something to say, but then decided he didn't want to. So it wasn't. She's assuming that it wasn't a random occurrence. He's just like, oh, I got something to tell you. Never mind. Like, okay, dude. So now Irabe's acting sus.
Hmm.
So now we're back to two potential moles. More hallways. Basically, it's a maze. They're just going around in circles in this hospital maze. They're
Hmm.
getting lost. I was gonna ask you a question at this point. Are they all mazes? If I go with all three of either of the three groups.
Yeah, at the start of the thing, it's always a maze.
Okay. I was hoping it would be something else if I went with like each group, like a different challenge, but it's not. Okay. Um. So we're lost in this maze, and then suddenly a zombie appears.
Hmm.
This is the craziest zombie design
Yeah.
I've ever seen in my life, and not in a good way. This was a bad part of this scene. It's a zombie doctor, which is fine.
With a machine gun.
He has a feckin' Uzi.
It's like a real gun, too.
It's just a gun for some reason. He's just a zombie with a gun, dude. And he's got an axe, like a cartoon axe sticking out of his head.
What's funny to me is that it's never explained. Like, the game doesn't imply that there's any supernatural element to the world that the game takes place in, so it's not a real zombie. which means that it's probably like the piglets and it's just like a brainwashed person that's been kidnapped. So how did
Um,
they brainwash this dude to be like, "You're a zombie. You have a machine gun. Just walk around and shoot."
I don't know, but and he's also got a lantern in the other hand. So he's got one hand dedicated to the Uzi, one hand
Mhm.
dedicated to the lantern, and I guess a backup axe in his forehead. Um,
Yeah, just in case.
so he's the least intimidating zombie in the world. He looks very cartoony and stupid, even though he has a fucking gun. And Mitarashi, recognizing he's the worst zombie in the world, just decides to charge the zombie directly.
Mhm.
The zombie's firing away. He's like, "Oh shit, that's a real man. I better be careful," you know.
Mhm.
Uh, Misses all the shots somehow, and Mitarashi just punches the zombie in the face.
Yeah.
Um, he's got the zombie. He's fighting the zombie, and he tells us to run. But Saki, being the incompetent Otome main character, just trips.
I mean, you gotta.
So Mitarashi, he's got to be my hero, my knight in shining armor. He picks me up. We get a
Mhm.
little CG of being picked up with me and Mitarashi. Saki's just like, "Oh," I'm like, "Okay,
Yeah.
your best boy, but don't cheese this up." All right. His arms kind of wrapped around Saki's shoulders, and he's got. She comments that his muscles are pressed against my back, so she's getting a little something for the muscular body of Mitarashi right now.
Mhm.
And Saki's heart starts beating really fast. Uh oh. And that would have been a good way to have a death. By the way, forgot to mention if if three of the players, quote unquote, die in the game, then they die for real. I guess they fail the mission and the park explodes.
Mhm.
So that would have been a funny way to get death number one, in my opinion. But she pulls it down. She's like, "Wait, wait, wait, calm down, calm down. He's hot, but I can't get that hot yet. I gotta calm myself down." And then she tries, I guess that's part of her coping mechanism. She's like, "Oh, he's probably like this hot and beautiful to everybody. It's probably not me, you know." Just,
I mean,
just
that's true because he literally is an escort.
so she's like, "I'm just a normal high school girl. That can't mean anything, you know."
My thing is like, Saki, you've known him for like literally 3 days. Come on.
So they all realize after they run from the zombie that their heart monitors are all beeping at a high rate. So they're about to fail. So they said, let's chill. Let's take a break.
Take a breather.
It's at this point Urabe decides to use his brain. Um, he's like, "Wait a second, I'm a fortune teller. Crystal ball that apparently I haven't like mentioned this, I don't think. In the pictures, he's always quote unquote carrying a crystal ball. He's not actually carrying it. He's floating this damn thing between his hands.
Fushigi.
He's what?
It's a fushigi.
A fushigi. What?
You
It's
don't know
not
what a
just
fushigi is?
what I just call it a crystal ball. What?
No, contact juggling. Fushigi.
I guess I don't know
You
what
didn't see like those
that is.
infomercials in the early 2000s where it's like fushigi and it's like a dude like rolling a clear plastic ball all over his hands like
Oh, I
fushigi is
actually
so
saw
cool.
that the other day. Jess and I were watching a YouTuber called Peanut Butter Gamer watching really old commercials.
Mhm.
And they had this where it's just like this ball and they act like they move the ball around, but it looks like their hands are dancing around the ball and it's really dumb.
Exactly, fushigi.
So he's actually levitating this ball, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that what we realize here? Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's actually mystic.
I don't think he is. Like there's got to be some trick to it, but I don't remember what it is.
Well, he goes, "Wait a second, I have a crystal ball. I can just like locate the exit with my powers."
Yeah.
So Urabe suddenly has a brain. So he does this. He just he's like, "Wait, I can do this." And they do it and they find a staircase to the next area.
Mhm.
Um they get to the staircase and Urabe stops. He's got to tell them something really important. He's like,
Mhm.
"Wait, hold on." I'm sus. I gotta tell you something important. Suddenly, a lady screams. Like a big screeching scream. It interrupts them. I won't dare replicate it.
Yeah, the audio levels wouldn't appreciate it.
Mitarashi just says, fuck this. Important thing you're going to tell me. There's a lady in trouble. And
Yeah.
runs up the stairs because he's a hero and he does this for every
He's
woman.
not.
Like you said, he does this for literally every woman.
It's true, but I don't know why he's going to such lengths for it. Like, dude, you're off the clock.
I think I make a mistake here. I misinterpret the choice. So the choice is I can say, Mitarashi, wait, or come on, Urabe.
Yeah.
And I saw Mitarashi wait as like, I picked Mitarashi wait because I thought this was going to be like a, wait, this is important, and then we'll go save her, or whatever. But she's actually like mad at him and says, get back here, or something like that. Yeah. So I pissed off Mitarashi inadvertently. I'm pissed about that.
Yeah.
He's irritated. I said to wait because a girl is screaming out there somewhere, which he's right. But I was just trying to say this might be really important, but that's not what Saki ends up doing.
So here's an Otome pro tip.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times, like, in the common route, when you're trying to get on disagreeing with them for their own, and that's the only time it works that way, is what I've noticed where, like...
Okay, so now I can start trying to be intelligent with Mitarashi once we're confirmed on the route.
Yeah, once you're on the route.
So for now, I just need to kiss his ass. Got it. He's mad. He's mad about that. He's, the girl's screaming. He's really pissed, and suddenly his heart monitor flatlines. He gets so pissed and worried about this that he game overs.
Dumb bitch.
So I fucked up. Would that have still happened had I said the other option? Would he have flatlined?
I don't super remember. I don't think so, though.
Because I was really curious for another reason coming up shortly.
I know that, two other people flatline all the time. Always.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Because I think this locked me out of an option later. If this matters, and I'll get to that in a second. Mitarashi's chasing after the girl, and we figure out the scream is coming from an area near the exit of the labyrinth. So they just leap through the exit. And they arrive at a very gross-looking operating room.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the party appears. So I guess it really does not matter which door you went in. So that was kind of weird. Just an excuse to separate us, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much.
They all arrive at the same time in this room, and there's a small girl curled up in a ball in the corner. That's weird.
It's very weird.
She has a Pocky stick in her mouth.
Sure does.
She's kind of got a green theme going on, like a certain other character. Like a certain older gentleman in our party.
Only thing I dislike about Shirabe's route is the fact that he has a child, in that by the end of the route, the teenage girl that you're playing as is like expected to have a parental role. Because that's so fucked up. But otherwise, great route.
She's got a bandage on her cheek, kind of calling to the bandage on Shirabe's forehead. She's got really weird blonde hair like Shirabe, same color. Urabe goes, "My!"
Like, what the fuck?
Yep, he yells, "My!"
Why and are you here?
Oh, fuck. Shirabe's her dad. So, even though I'm not on Urabe route, I'm immediately imagining how that relationship is going to go down.
It's very complicated.
And I'm laughing my ass off just imagining it. And now I think when I New Game Plus, if I do it, I'm gonna do Shirabe purely for that reason. To see
Yeah,
how
it's
that
a
goes.
great route. Wonderful route.
Um, here's the shitty CG. We were talking before the podcast about a really crappy CG. I made a note that this was a crummy CG. When he reunites with Shirabe, I think the reason is like they've all got this really stupid face, like what, and none of it's really well drawn.
Uh-huh.
Um, that was the one I was referring to. 'Cause I put like there's a CG here, and then I took a arrow later in the margins and drew to it and wrote shitty when I realized that was shitty. Um, somebody comes on the PA again while they're all in just like wonder about this. They go. He goes, "The nightmare maze has been completed."
Yeah. Now we have like a 4-year-old to watch over in this like park that can explode. Great.
Robbie says, "She's all I've got left in my of my all I've got left of my wife."
Yeah, he's got to be.
Oh, there's a whole nother bag of worms, can of worms we've opened. Bag of
Mhm.
worms. That's not a
Mhm.
thing. She's all I've got left of my wife. She's been living with my mother-in-law. So, whoo, baggage is there.
Yeah, one thing I will say about Sweet Fuse is widower is not a common trope for dateable boy. This is one of few instances I've seen it. So, interesting.
Yeah. So, I kind of wonder what the former wife would think of dating a 16-year-old high school girl. But
Probably not great. Probably wouldn't
oof,
be a fan.
oof. Mai comes in. Mai explains why she's here. She came to the park with her grandma, but then something
Mhm.
went quote unquote boom.
Okay.
Shirabe didn't even know she was here. So I guess I don't know where grandma's at. I guess grandma's fucking dead somewhere.
Maybe.
Um, she survived on a bunch of snacks. I guess the Pocky that
Mhm.
she's eating, snacking on. Grandma likes to be prepared, so I guess Grandma just said, "What if you're stranded here for 3 days? Here's some Pocky sticks to eat on."
Have have these rations.
Yeah, here's some. Just in case you get separated, honey, here's a chocolate Pocky stick. Like 7 boxes of them.
Sure, this
70
small child
boxes.
will do great on all of this sugar.
Well, she survived. So
Mhm.
thank you, Grandma. Um, Shadow explains this room as a vivisection lab.
Yeah.
Mai asks what vivisection is, and Mitarashi, which by the way is just like cutting, like doing like weird operations on people for like they're not. It's not good. It's like the bad kind of like doing operations on people to learn about human stuff, human
Mhm.
anatomy and stuff. The bad
Mhm.
kind.
Yeah.
My ask what vivisection is. Mitarashi says it's how they figure out how the body works, which gets a smile out of Saki. So here is where Mitarashi just jumps to the top.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, you're right. One of his better qualities is that he's good with children.
He and Mai form this immediate bond from this point on that is actually very charming.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
This is part of why I was convinced that his plot twist was that he was going to be like a teacher or something as well.
Mm.
Because like I thought like why are they setting up the fact that he's like interested in video games and wants to learn more about them and is very good with children and supposedly has this like nurturing side? Like is the twist just going to be that like yes, he's an escort but his day job is that he's like a teacher or something, but
Mhm.
it's not that.
Yeah. So from here on out, Mai and Mitarashi, at least in this stage, are basically inseparable friends.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's
so they're
true
in
of all.
this, yeah. So they're in this operation room. The door is locked with no keyhole.
Mhm.
Uh, the announcer comes back on the PA and goes, "Having performed countless experiments on others, it's time to become the subject of one. To find the message, crawl along the earth and look to the heavens. And I'm just like, this is one of those things that irritates me. It's so simple to read this clue. Just get on the ground and look under tables or look under stuff because it's just wanting you to look up at something. So just do that. They don't immediately do this because they're idiots.
Their defense.
Mm-hmm.
That's some escape room shit, and I've never done an escape room to completion. I've always failed.
Yeah,
So I feel like I couldn't do better.
My wife and I have done one, and we had a really good group that we were with. It was on a cruise, and we probably wouldn't have done it without them. The clues are a little more, at least the one we were on, than get on the ground and look up, because this is just straight up get on the ground and look up. So I was a little like, come on, guys. Urabe and Miyoshi look at medicines out of the cabinet, and they're just, I guess, like taking medicine out of the cabinet, just sitting on a table. And Mai goes, "Daddy likes medicine. I'll sniff some of it." What? And Mai just starts like coughing, obviously, because she just took a big whiff of medicine.
Super don't. Small child. Super do not.
Yeah. So she's hacking and coughing and drops the jar because she's dying. And now this shit is everywhere in the room, just floating in the air. And now we're all dying.
It's very bad. 4-year-old is not a good into this situation.
So even though Mitarashi is choking right now, he is still best boy and drops a coat over Mai. Again, more of that nice charm Mitarashi with Mai. He only thinks of Mai, just puts the coat over Mai. Urabe, though, after this all dies down, and the powder, I guess, goes away, and they can finally breathe again. Urabe is pissed at his daughter, Mai. He's going nuts. I mean, I think he's screaming at her. I think he's grabbed her at one point, scolding her. His heart rate monitor is, by the way, those are still in effect, even though we beat the maze. His heart rate monitor goes beep, 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 and game over. He's out. So that's 2 quote unquote deaths. But now, Michelle.
Yes.
We have to talk about our not sponsor. Because Raid failed us. Raid Shadow Legends. So, listen. Manscaping. Alright? If you don't
No, we're not.
If you don't buy the Lawnmower 3.0, fuck you. And that's our ad.
What kind of situation does anybody have to require a lawnmower?
What they call their product is the lawnmower.
Okay.
If you don't use the Lawnmower 3.0, their newest version of their great wonderful product, fuck you. That's my ad. Call me Manscaping. I will gladly advertise you. And so will Michelle.
No.
Saki explodes. Well, I'll say this. Saki gets mad.
Yeah.
Because he's scolding his child really, really strongly. And honestly, she did a really dumb thing, but she's also hyped up on Pocky Sticks, so maybe it's okay.
And 4, so.
Yeah. And then he immediately stopped working with her to look at medicines. So I think there's a couple faults here. Saki's mad. I get the option to do the exploding bomb get mad thing. And I do, because I said, episode 1, I'm going to do this every time. She goes, "You're her dad. You should have been watching her. You didn't even ask if she was okay." He goes, "You are right. I am a terrible father." And I get the heart bomb for Urabe. And my heart monitor flatlines.
Yep. So,
yeah.
Those are the 2 that always go off regardless, so you can't do anything about them.
So that probably answers my question if this locked me out of the choice earlier. So I wondered if I didn't get Mitarashi mad, he wouldn't have flatlined, and then I could have done this. So I flatline. The room explodes, and I get my first game over. Because I'm an idiot. And I actually was an idiot. I didn't even think about it. Because as soon as I see that little thing, I'm like, oh, gameplay. Bam. Kick his ass. Died. We're all dead now. So I got a game over. We have to go back in time. I have to let Urabe be a bad father.
You don't. You just have
Except
to put up
Mitarashi
with
scolds him
Mitarashi
for
mad.
me. Because Mitarashi and Mai are best friends now.
Yeah.
So Mitarashi kicks his ass instead. And I guess Mitarashi's already gamed over, so and Shirabe's already game over, so they can kick each other's ass all they want.
Yeah, pretty much.
So yeah, he scolds Urabe. While the group is studying, after they've calmed down, I guess, that's just like, by the way, they're studying the medicine again. Saki notices that Mai is very fidgety. So I get a choice to talk to Mai. I can say, do you have to go to the bathroom?
Rude.
Or I can treat her somewhat respectfully and say, is there something you need to tell us? I say, obviously, is there something you need to tell us? And Mai says, hey, you tall people. I'm short, so I don't have to figure out the easy riddle that you all are too stupid to figure out. And I can look under the table and see a clue. So there's a drawing under the operating table with a crown with 3 drops of water next to it. So Mitarashi decides to do the worst thing he's done this entire game and drop this horrible pun. He goes, this must be a low ranking table.
What? I don't get it.
This
I've
is
played this game and I don't get it.
It's a crown and water droplets. So instead of I don't really get it that much either, but the Rain King is the water droplets is rain, and then King is the crown.
Oh, okay.
This is a low ranking table.
Yeah, but tables don't have ranks.
Yeah, and that's where I kind of lost on it, but that's his pun. That's why it's a terrible pun, and the group kind of not the group in unison. Wakasa, who remember is shit terrified, hasn't really said much this whole time, and Miyoshi are both angered to the point to say, shut the fuck up, Mitarashi. Which, honestly, that one was deserved.
Yeah.
So random, just point of no character depth for my favorite character of this game. Urabe says that the drawing stands for Royal Water. Or Aqua Regia? I'm not sure how you say it.
Probably Regia.
Regia. Aqua Regia, which is an extremely corrosive solution, which eats metals. So he just knows that, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta have fun facts if you're gonna be a smart one.
Yeah. Urabe, the smart one? How dare you? How dare you? They pour the mixture of what the drawing hints at, which I guess is like the crown means one of them, and the water means another one. So they pour the mixture together, and they make Aqua Regia, and they pour it on the lock of the door, and then they are able to melt the lock and leave. Yeah.
Because I don't know that would necessarily fix the issue.
Well, I guess it's so corrosive it just eats this entire lock and doorknob
Why
and
not just throw it
everything,
at
and
the
it just
door
lets you
then?
push the door open. I mean, yeah. You could do that too. But they do it. As they leave, Mai is clutching onto Mitarashi's hand. So again, more of that bond there forming. But suddenly, we get a text from God.
Yeah.
Mr. Inafune himself.
That's not a good time, dude.
But he provides critical advice. I think what we texted him last session was, hey, I suspect 2 dudes of being bad. What should I do? He says, if I suspect someone, I should just ask. Get it out in the open. Thanks, God.
Thanks.
Thanks, Inafune. So I guess that's all it takes for her to just be like, okay, now's the time to talk to Urabe. She just confronts Urabe right there in front of the whole group and his daughter now, instead of in private. Which I guess might be safer, actually, in case he is the mole, now I think about it. Says, hey, what were you doing at the monitor the other day when you were talking to somebody and I couldn't see you were talking to, but you shouldn't have really been talking to anybody, yada, yada, yada. He says, you caught me, but I'm not telling you squat. And he says squat. So, that
I think
writing.
this is like one of very few Otome games where they can't curse, which is very odd.
Yeah, he says, I'm not telling you squat. Saki says that means that she can't trust him and that the group will fall apart. Says that to Urabe.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. That part was in private. Then the group comes back in the room because they're like, hey, where are you two at? And then I tell them everything, get them up to speed. So I'm like, he was at the monitor and he won't tell me squat.
Yeah.
Urabe says he didn't actually come to do a story on the park like he introduced himself as. He's not just doing a story on the park, but he's following a lead. He got a call from letter M2, saying that he'd learned the truth at the park's opening. And M2 makes me think Mega Man?
Yes, but also, if you play New Game Plus, that'll make more sense.
So I'm like, is that supposed to be a Mega Man clue? Mega Man? Is Mega Man in this game? So, just me. M2 maybe means Mega Man, which maybe means Inafune sent that text. That's my guess.
Okay.
He says he was talking to Hogstein, trying to figure out if he was M2. And I guess Hogstein denies that he's M2 in that conversation. Saki now assumes that Hogstein lied about being a traitor because obviously Shirabe's good and Mitarashi's good. Nobody else could possibly be suspect except the one guy who's been acting sus and trying to get your attention and say, I have something very important to tell you, Urabe. They go on to the next room because Saki's too stupid to think. They arrive at a room called Records. And there's a set of red eyes in the background peering in the back of the room, which I'm like, is nobody gonna address the creepy ass maybe zombie peering in the back of the room? Doesn't amount to anything, but he's just chilling the whole time back there. On top of the desk is a treasure chest next to a pair of clippers, little snips, scissors, or whatever. Shadow opens the chest, and there's a bomb with wires with 15 minutes on it. And the clock is ticking down. Announcer. I love a good bomb in my Otome.
Yeah.
The announcer
That's
goes,
really common.
oh, is it? Good trope.
Yeah.
I just figured that was just a weird thing.
No, there's usually a lot of life-threatening situations, and it's not uncommon for it to be bombs.
Gotcha. The announcer comes on the intercom again and goes, farewell, blood-stained hospital. All these sins are yours so that I might escape this purgatory. Miyoshi goes, oh yeah, I like video games. I remember this now. The main character ends up blowing up the hospital to destroy the zombie research. That's a Resident Evil nod, I assume, because they typically will just blow up the lab or whatever that they end up finding. Shirabe explains that Purgatory is from Dante's Divine Comedy, so another Dante reference. Just a nod to Dante. Saki opens a drawer because they're just trying to figure out, oh shit, what do we do? Saki opens a drawer with research notes. Another Resident Evil nod. They find the research notes and they have to read it to solve the puzzle. But there are 5 pieces of colored paper in the research notes with a word circled on each page. And the words on each page are jealousy, fury, neglect, indulgence, seduction. So we've got a clue we got to figure out. So this is the part where the game goes explosive insight, and we have to pick like 3 words from the last little bit we talked about and find the key words to solve the puzzle.
Yep.
She figures out through this explosive insight that these are words that are synonyms for the 7 deadly sins, going back to, I guess, the Dante stuff.
Yep.
Pride and greed are the 2 deadly sins that don't have a synonym that match up to the circled words. So they go, oh, it must be the blue and the red wire because those are the 2 wires that don't have a color, I guess. I'm trying to remember how this worked.
I don't super remember.
Yeah.
But 2 wires.
Yeah, there were 5 words circled, each with a color. And the 2 colors on the bomb wires that weren't in the notebook with the word were red and blue, I guess, is how it worked. Mm-hmm. Or something like that. Anyway, it's the red and blue wires is the answer they assume that they got to cut. But then Shadow, I guess Shadow has figured out that Saki can be smart when she chooses to be smart. He just looks at me and goes, do you have any revelations? Like, what a random ass thing to ask just me.
Yeah.
So I get a choice. I can say, maybe we should think about it. Or I can say, got it. I say, yeah, I got it. Because even though I'm not really sure where he's going at this point. But I get a heart bomb with Shadow because he thinks I think I'm smart. So I do another explosive insight. And I point out the line from the announcer that said, all these sins.
Yeah, cut them all.
Yeah. So we decide instead that we cut all the sins in the journal. So because of the line, all these sins. So we're not cutting the 2 that we're missing. We're cutting all the ones that had a color coordinated with it in the journal. So we cut the 5 wires instead of the 2 wires. So we cut all the wires, but the clock is still ticking down. So that was wrong. Good job. Mitarashi panics and grabs the clippers. Saki leaps to Mitarashi. And Urabe, I guess he's going to make a drastic decision and can cut one of the wires without thinking like he did in the last section.
Yeah.
Yep. Urabe says it's the blue wire that you should cut. We're like, Urabe, how did you figure that out? He's like, it's the color of the journal itself. Just cut the blue wire. And Saki goes, wait a second. That was oddly certain. Shadow points out how unusual this is and how quick Urabe was to figure out Aqua Regia. Like, you did just randomly know how to create a really poisonous, or not poisonous, really acidic substance.
Yeah. Anything you want to say, dude?
Yeah.
Well, how about it?
Urabe confesses he's the traitor with a big custom CG.
Yep.
What? Urabe actually does suck. First impressions do matter. So yeah, they're like, oh fuck. Alright. We'll cut the blue wire then since he's telling us the answer. But there is doubt about trusting a traitor. So I get a choice. I can say, think about it more or trust Urabe. I say think about it more because I'm like, if he is the traitor, could be bullshit.
Did you get another bad end?
No, I didn't.
Really?
Because Mitarashi then steps in and is like, no, sweet Saki. Intelligent being that you are. You made a mistake this time. We should trust Urabe. He randomly then tells Mai not to call him Mister. I guess they had a little small conversation. where she's like, Mr. Mitarashi, and he goes, nah, we're bros now. So they're bros.
They are bros.
Mai and Mitarashi are bros. Then he puts his arm around Mai as he gets ready to cut the wire. Shido cuts the blue wire and the timer stops. With 5 seconds left. For drama.
Trauma.
Hogstein comes over the PA and says, you screwed up. And then the timer counts and that's it. Mom counts down to 0. Surprise! I actually liked that. I actually gave a kudo to that. I like failure. I like when heroes fail. Urabe says, Hogstein, you told me it was the blue wire last night. What? They were in communication last night. He is the traitor. Hogstein says, that was just insurance because I didn't trust you.
Double cross.
Double cross, bitch. Hogstein says the answer was to actually cut all of the wires because it said all the sins.
Yeah.
Which that was dumb.
Dumbasses.
It's like, I mean, when the timer came back, I would have cut the last wire anyway. What was there to lose? But anyway. Maybe they were startled. I don't know. Yep. So that was the answer. They screwed up. They lost. So that means they have to die. We failed. We actually failed this mission, which is great. I love failure. Urabe then goes to a bookshelf and pulls a book and says, guys, shit, get in here. And the bookshelf like slides to the side. And he's leading him in the secret tunnel. So Urabe lets us out. This place is about to blow. This place is getting ready to explode. He's at the door when the bomb in the room goes off. Boom! Oh no! Urabe, darn. Goodbye. I'm rooting, I'm cheering. I'm like, yeah! Goodbye, Urabe. You were stupid.
Peace out, dude.
He's assumed dead at this point. Or at least I assumed he was dead, but apparently they're gonna bring that up later. So they're all running. Saki is knocked down while everything around them explodes because remember, it's not just that bomb, it's the whole park around them, like the whole area they're in is going to explode now because they failed the mission. Mitarashi, I guess, sees Saki falling over and just turns his back to the explosion and kind of covers her up.
Alright, fun fact. So, during this, like, escape sequence, whatever boy's route you're about to be on, is the one that goes back to save you, but in Wakasa's route, he, like, tries to and chickens out, so Mitarashi has to go get you instead.
Oh, that's funny. And we still want to date Wakasa after that? That's sad.
Yeah.
Anyway, Mitarashi saves my ass, and I was wondering why he abandoned Mai during that, but I guess they didn't really think that part through.
I think probably like Shirabe had her or something. Somebody else must have.
Because he was with Mai the whole time, and suddenly he just said, "I'm out. Gotta go save my girl."
Peace.
Sorry, we're not really bros. That bunch of bros.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it goes dark. There's big explosions. You know, they black out. Shido wakes up Saki afterward. And that's when we all assume Urabe's dead. I've been like, you didn't assume... Well, I guess we didn't have time to think. But yeah, he's assumed dead. Hogstein is surprised that so many of us survived.
Yeah.
He's like, wow, only one of you died? I guess we need to add Mai as a new participant. Uh-oh. Yeah. Now the child's going to be involved. Saki gets pissed.
Totally.
Like, what? She's like, you get to do not the heart bomb, the get mad thing. She's like, she's just a kid. You can't make a kid do this, you idiot. What are you, some kind of jerk? And that backs him down. He's like, I'm just kidding. But then he says, I already have what I want. And then he goes, bye. And they speculate after that there is a possibility that Urabe is alive. Based on what? To me, he's got to be dead or shit. You just saw a bomb blow up behind him, but I guess it's Otome, anime-ish rules, so he's probably alive somewhere.
Yeah.
So the whole area we were at's blown up, so we go back to Alice in Wonderland restaurant to eat, which I thought that was hilarious.
Hungry now. Gotta go eat some food.
They don't go back to the boat to like clean up or anything. They're like, well, fuck, let's just go eat. They're just like covered in dust and shit. I assume they don't mention that, but I'm like, they gotta be like messed up right now.
Yeah.
Mayoshi asks the piglets to fix up Mitarashi. So Mitarashi's beat up. I guess he took the blunt of the explosion that was meant for us.
Yeah.
So yeah, he kind of goes with the piglets in the back somewhere to get fixed up, and they just have a really quiet dinner. They dwell on that statement. I already have what I want from Hogstein. They acknowledge, for some reason, the possibility that Hogstein wanted each participant for a specific reason because of that comment.
Yeah.
And which they don't bring up that Saki is an outlier here.
Yeah.
Because she volunteered.
Mm-hmm.
They leave that detail out for some reason in their conversation. But Saki says there must be a hidden connection between them behind the scenes that we haven't figured out yet.
Yup.
They split up to look for Urabe, I guess, because they're stupid. They haven't yet confirmed he's dead, so they look for him. And then they said, yep, he's probably dead, because they don't find him, and then they go back to the boat.
Pretty much. Congrats on finishing the common route.
Finishing the what?
The common route.
The common route. What's that mean?
So, like, with an Otome game, there's the common route, which is very slightly, but is more or less the same for the duration. And then the decisions you make during the common route decide which specific route you transition into for each boy. And so you've just finished the common route. You're transferring into Mitarashi's route now.
Oh, so we're through part 1, act 1, I guess.
Yep.
Cool. Neat. Saki lays in bed. She goes, why'd that stupid pig have to blow up part of Uncle Keiji Inafune's park after he worked so
My
hard
uncle's gonna lose so much fucking money.
Maybe she actually that's a quote, by the way. Maybe if I tried harder, Uncle Keiji Inafune's dream would have survived.
Like,
that's what
why
she's
are you
worried
so
about.
dedicated to this uncle?
It's kind of weird.
It is, isn't it?
But yeah, so we got to butt kiss Keiji Inafune this chapter. We've done it. Free time. It's the free time section, and I don't select Mitarashi. The game selects Mitarashi for me. I was like, oh, hey. Maybe this time I wanted to talk to Urabe. Who knows? You assume too much. All right. No, I'm going to pick Mitarashi. He comes to my room and knocks. He's visiting because I looked bummed. He's worried about me, Michelle.
Yeah.
He says he's all about knowing how a client is feeling.
God,
not that you're a client or anything.
Yeah, but do tip.
He then says that we are bros.
Yeah, bros.
Yeah. Me and my wife, we're bros too.
I would so much rather be bros with Mitarashi than date him. Dating him seems like a nightmare.
He says he's got my back. And then with his job, there isn't much room for seeing women as anything more than a client. Ooh.
That's okay, Mitarashi. Okay.
The darkness in his heart. He can't find love.
It's not darkness, it's just misogyny.
They're all clients when you're in my work. He says,
come on, Mitarashi.
Don't tell anyone that, we had this conversation or anything. You look like you could use a bro.
What?
Says you look like you could use a bro.
I don't like him. I don't like him at all.
He says, Saki then asks if he's okay about what happened to Urabe. He said, yeah, but like keep it under your hat, okay? It's like, okay. You don't think we're all a little bit bummed about that, but okay. Don't let anybody know I was sad about this, all right. After the visit, Mai shows up and asks to sleep with Saki. And I put a note here. This would be really weird if I was going for Shirabe.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess Shirabe actually was okay with it. I guess they mentioned too.
Yeah. He like doesn't want to watch this child.
He's like, just leave me alone. I'm sleeping. Go hang out with Saki. She's like a girl.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
And then the flashback locket sequence happens at the end, and this one just was weird to me. All I wrote was they're eating ice cream. That's it.
Pretty
That's all that
much.
happens. I was like, what's the point?
I mean, you truly will not know until you play New Game
Yeah,
Plus, and
yeah.
even then, you still might not know.
And it's honestly all I wrote. I said they're eating ice cream. Normally, I write down like almost everything they do. And I was like, this is pointless. They're eating ice cream.
Yep.
The two
Yep.
kids are eating ice cream. That's it.
Mhm.
That's it. That's all for stage 4. That's 14 pages of notes. I guess I'm off common route. I'm strictly on Mitarashi route. So I can't hit on the other boys at this point. I'm assuming.
Nope, you're locked in.
Locked in. So I can't mess this up now.
No, I mean you can, but not like you can't get onto another route.
Nice. I'm gonna mess this up. Overall, stage was it 3? Stage 3?
It's stage 3, yeah.
Was the best stage so far. We had character
I
development.
am really sorry to inform you that I think like it's gonna be downhill from here.
Oh, I can't wait. We had character development. We had a little bit of intrigue, even though they shit on it and ruined it too early.
Yeah, but
We
like
had, yeah.
yeah, based on like what you've told me about the things you like and dislike about this game, you generally like enjoy some sense of like intrigue or mystery or like not there's no gameplay really, but like the semblance of it. And
Mhm.
just like Mitarashi's route goes ahead and says, "But what if we didn't?"
Oh boy, my favorite.
Mitarashi's route specifically is the only one that's like, "But what if we just didn't though?"
I can't wait. I love this choice. Oh boy, I can't wait. That's all right. The charm of Mitarashi will get me through this, Michelle. I'll be all right.
Uh-huh.
I believe in him. I believe in him.
Okay.
Um, we had good set pieces, even though some of the CG was a little gross.
Mhm.
We had a character death, maybe Urabe's dead.
For heaps.
I suspect he's not because they're like, but what if he's not? We had Hogstein has some side motivations that he's alluded to, that he's already got what he wants. That's neat. So yeah, we're in a good path that apparently is about to go completely downhill from here. So that's great. Can't wait for the next part.
Yeah.
So
I
that's
can't wait
it.
to hear you complain next week.
And I said I was gonna bitch, and that was about this section, and I was misleading with that. Like I said, I actually was surprised by how good it was. So again,
Nice.
we'll do some more next week, and that's it.
Yeah.
And get the lawnmower. It's good for the
Don't.
trimming.
Mhm.
Call me manscaping. I need your money. Twitter. We have Twitters. They'll be in
We
the
do.
description. If you're on YouTube. What else am I supposed to do in these outros? Because this is the second time I've done an outro now.
Say peace. Peace out.
Peace.
Bye.
Subscribe. Give me money. So
Go
we
ahead
can
and
do
just
this.
direct deposit.
Yeah. Hit the money button if there is one. There might actually be, I think, on. Maybe I shouldn't say that. That sounds really bad. If you like our content, please support us by clicking the whatever money button is appropriate for where you're watching this.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. So, thanks.
Thanks.
That's it. Get out of here,
Yeah.
Craig.
Bye, Craig. Get the fuck out, Craig. You're not welcome.
Yeah, fuck Craig.